Mike is muted, it's telling me. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Dangerous Ideas. How are they? I hope they meaning you. How are thee? Hope you're doing well. Some crazy shit has gone down over the weekend. I mean, as always, RIP to Rob Reiner. That's bizarre. Not a lot of hot takes on that one right now. Rob Reiner, despite the fact that he, for the most part, was a liberal, he did a pretty excellent podcast on the JFK assassination and who actually was involved in the JFK assassination. I don't know that he had much in there on Israel, which the latest episode of Unredacted talks about Israel's connection to the JFK assassination, but did a lot of other good work on that. But yeah, Rob Reiner and his wife killed likely by their son in their bed. So that's fucking bizarre. But obviously that's not, the standard mainstream media is not what you come to me for. Also in the mainstream media is, of course, this attack at Bondi Beach. So I'm not going to give you all the mainstream details of the attack at Bondi Beach. I'm going to get into a little bit of the kind of extra information of the attack on Bondi Beach that is not really being covered in mainstream media. For that, I figured we'd really quick go to Caitlin Johnstone's writing on it. Also, she is Australian, so she's more closely tied to that area of the world. And she wrote a column about Israel apologists have hastened to use the Bondi shooting to attack anti-genocide activists. And before I even get into what she's saying, let me just say that as a Jewish person myself, this shit is horrific. It's horrible. It's horrifying. A. And B, I'd say absolutely 100% by Israel behaving the way it behaves, you just make this type of thing happen more. Even if it were to come out that, and I know that it's seeming that the gunmen are ISIS connected, but even if they weren't, even if it were to come out that it's just has nothing to do with anything Israel's done in Gaza, etc., still you are making the world less safe for Jewish people around the world by committing genocide and then telling everyone to conflate all Judaism with Israel. So Israel creates anti-Semitism. Absolutely. But Caitlin Johnstone wants to point out some things. She says, point one, obviously it's evil to massacre civilians for being Jewish. It's as if that needs saying. Fucking obviously. Point two, obviously, Israel's massacring of civilians must continue to be opposed and will continue to be opposed. And her point is that point one and point two are not contradictory. They're not mutually exclusive. Israel people should not be massacred for who they are. Sorry, did I say Israel people? I meant Jewish people. But also, Israelis should not be massacred for who they are. But you can be against Israeli policies and not be against all Jews. And Israel doesn't want you to know that. They don't want you to think that. They don't want you to think that's a possibility. And Caitlin Johnson's point is that point one and point two are both true and they do not contradict. Israel needs to stop massacring people, and Jews should not be massacred like they were at Bondi Beach with 12 being killed. She says it's so gross watching the tail-wagging excitement of Israel supporters in response to this shooting. They're so happy they have another rhetorical weapon with which to bludgeon pro-Palestine voices into silence. They can barely contain their glee. And Benjamin Netanyahu immediately scrambled to hold a press conference in which he said that the attack was the result of Australia taking some steps toward the recognition of a Palestinian state. Yeah, I'm sure if Australia had not taken any steps towards a Palestinian state, I'm sure this wouldn't have happened. What? Why? Why are you sure of that? That's insanity. Netanyahu, of course, just being his average unhinged self. And, perhaps we'll throw in here, without truly knowing every aspect of the goals of the gunmen, the motivation of the gunmen. We are hearing they're ISIS connected, but without knowing all those details, Can we just say that the U.S. and U.S. activities have created a terrorism and in multitudes of ways around the world? Terrorism has increased, completely correlating with America's terrorism around the world. We have killed 4.5 to 6 million people in just the global war on terror. And what do you do when you blow up someone's family? Generally, the survivors of that family are not so happy. Some of them join fucking terror groups. So this idea that the war on terror has minimized terrorism is so ridiculously laughable. It, of course, has increased terrorism. So I just wanted to bring you a couple of notes on that. You know, there's not a lot that needs to be said that isn't being said in the mainstream media at this moment. But while we're on the topic of Israel, let's also jump to a quick minute from my friend John Kiriakou. By the way, I've asked him to come back on the show. He'll probably be on a little while, just scheduling problems. But just former CIA officer and CIA whistleblower John Kiriakou did an interview recently talking about Israel's influence on America and vice versa. So let's watch a minute of that.
Bizarrely, has it become permissible, openly permissible, all these years after your revelations of U.S. torture during the so-called war on terror?
You know, I'm sorry to tell you that my revelations had a great impact on paper. My revelations were what led to passage of the McCain-Feinstein Amendment that banned torture in the United States. But it did nothing to put pressure on our allies like Israel to stop torture or to dial back the torture. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if another whistleblower were to come out and say, well, yeah, we don't torture, but we still render prisoners to countries that do torture. And then we pay subsidies to those countries' intelligence services to provide us with the information that the prisoner finally gives. With Israel, it's an even stranger relationship. The United States does not spy on Israel, period. It just does not. And it operates in Israel only with the permission of the Mossad. It's a very strange relationship. It's not a terribly friendly one. It's proper. It's formal, but not friendly. And the U.S. does nothing inside Israel without the Mossad's permission.
The U.S. does nothing inside Israel without the Mossad's permission. That's good to hear. But also the fact that, like, Israel is clearly spying on the United States. I mean, it's been discovered again and again and again. They try and spy on the White House, for God's sakes. Meanwhile, he's saying that the U.S. does not spy within Israel, which is interesting. And it's probably the only country in the world that the United States isn't either spying in or attempting to spy in. I don't know that we have a lot of good spying going on inside North Korea, but we're certainly trying. And so literally Israel may be the only country in the world, assuming John Kiriakou's got it right, maybe the only country in the world where the United States is not spying inside their country. And it tells you a lot about who's holding the reins, who's holding the riding crop and spanking the other one. All right, so I wanted to do just that quick little bit on Bondi Beach and Israel, but mainly I want to get to Corina Machado, more on her, more on what's going on with Venezuela. Then we're going to get into how ICE is arresting American citizens for looking at them. ICE is arresting American citizens for fucking looking at them. Please, everyone, click thumbs up, click share, click subscribe. You know, we're hanging in there despite all the censorship, all the suppression, multiple of my channels. That can't be the correct grammatitude. That there's no way that grammatitude was correctly. There's no way. I'm pretty sure it was a wrongly grammatitude correct early. Grammartude Murley. Wrong. But anyway, all the censorships present. Thank you guys for hanging in there. Thank you for joining me for these live streams. I do live stream 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We weren't here Friday, but on Wednesdays, when I have Government Secrets, my other podcast and live stream, I do not do a extra live stream that day. So that means that you have this one on Monday, 3 p.m. Eastern. Then on Wednesday, we'll have Government Secrets at 9 a.m. Eastern. You can watch live, but you can also watch it at any time, where we go over government secrets of this country that people don't talk about. And so there will be no 3 p.m. live stream Wednesday. The other thing is that this Unredacted Tonight that came out this past Thursday was the last Unredacted Tonight of 2025 of this year. So the next one won't be out until January. If you want to see the show continue, and I very much hope to keep it going, but it's kind of, it's a money loser, and we're trying our best to try and make it work. But if you want to see Unredacted Tonight and my other work keep going, I really hope you'll sign up at substack.com/@realleecamp. Another way to put that is realleecamp.substack.com. Or at leecamp.net, my locals page. Sign up at one of those places. If I can get 100 more by the end of the year, and actually we're down to about 60 more I need to get, then I will be able to keep all of that going. And I know it's the end of the year. A lot of people do their giving at the end of the year. So if you want to support independent radical media, some of the most suppressed and censored media in the nation, then this is an easy way to do it. 2 cups of coffee a month. If you sign up at locals, it's $6 a month. If you sign up at substack.com and sign up for a year, then it comes to $6.60 a month. So essentially the same. And that will make a big difference. All right, let's keep going though. There's a bunch of aspects about Maria Corina Machado that I have not gotten into, despite playing clips of her and tearing her apart, that I have not gotten into because I didn't know kind of her background until now. And this is coming from the Dissident Substack, a good, often very well-informed Substack. And anyway, he goes through some of the points about Corina Machado that the mainstream media will not cover. VC Nick wants to know if you can sign up twice. Well, you could sign up for both platforms. You actually could sign up for 3 platforms. You can sign up for Substack, Locals, and my Patreon, patreon.com/LeeCamp. So any of those would work. Or you can sign up for all 3. Be amazing. It would be amazing. Thank you for the support. And so I saw someone else asked about how the show was in New York City. It was fucking wonderful. It was really great. I was on stage with Jonathan O'Donnell, Anders Lee from Redacted Tonight. They did their sets, their stand-up sets, and we sold out the Cobra Club, and just a wonderful show all around. I did a half hour of completely new in terms of live material. Never performed live before, and it was awesome. I'm going to try. We did have video of it. I'm going to try and put up some clips of it. But, that takes some time. I don't even have the video yet. So hopefully keep an eye out for some of the clips from that show. But all right, let's get into it. Number 1 on the list, and to me, this is the most important of the entire list of things you will not hear about Maria Corina Machado. She is also, in case you have forgotten, the Nobel Peace Prize winning, because they are a completely captured pro-war outfit. I mean, Jesus Christ, Nobel Peace Prize means the same as like NATO officer at this point. She's the Nobel Peace Prize winner who the U.S. wants to install as the president of Venezuela. And we'll get into this more later, but she has announced that she would like the United States to pillage Venezuela. Like, she is outwardly calling for it. Anyway, but her past is rather interesting. For her entire political career, Maria Corina Machado has been an asset of the United States and its long-standing regime change war in Venezuela. From 2003 to 2010, she ran the NGO Summit or Samate. Later, I think there's an accent on the E I saw, so maybe Samate. Which, as Venezuela Analysis noted, was financed by the NED, The fucking NED. It always comes back to the NED. Every time you see a country have a revolution, quote unquote, that you're like, where did that come from? Or some sort of coup, or some sort of coup monger, some sort of face of the Nobel Peace Prize. They're all NED. All of them are NED. NED, of course, National Endowment for Democracy, funded by the U.S. government. It is a CIA cutout. It started as things the CIA would do, but they realized it looked bad to have the CIA come into your country and help with democracy and help with learning for the children's, for the little kiddies. We're going to help teach the kiddies how to be coup mongers. It looked bad. So they created a cutout. That's where the term comes from. Remove it from the CIA. No longer CIA. We have no connection to the CIA. We're just doing the exact same shit that the CIA used to do. And there is one public statement by the former head of the NED. There's one public statement by the former head where he says that we do what the CIA used to do. Like, he publicly said it. I don't know if he realized he was saying it or didn't care, but either way. Anyway, it's a CIA cutout. She's also been, that her NGO there also financed by USAID and Development Alternatives, DAI, all three of which are known across Latin America for their attempts to destabilize progressive governments under the guise of democracy promotion. Maria Corina Machado has continued to receive U.S. funding more recently than that. Leaked documents reported by DropSite News reveal that the U.S. spent $18 million specifically in 2024 on Venezuelan opposition groups, including on the global travel of Nobel Peace Prize winner Maria Corina Machado. Yay. I'm hoping that eventually, as Nobel Peace Prize keeps being given to people like fucking Henry Kissinger and all these absolute stains on humanity, eventually it'll become a slur. Like, dude, that guy's acting like a Nobel Peace Prize winner. Whoa, did you see that gunman at that school? He was just Nobel Peace Prize winning his way through the whole school. It was horrific, man. Jesus. I couldn't even watch the news broadcast because it was just so much Nobel Peace Prizing going on. Oh, it was rough. So, in her virtual remarks at the American Business Forum, Machado also thanked more U.S. government officials that she's close with, such as coup monger Senator Marco Rubio. Oh, sorry, used to be Secretary of State Marco Rubio, the champion of she called him the champion of the cause of freedom and democracy in the Americas. She thanked Governor DeSantis. She thanked Senator Rick Scott. She thanked Senator Ashley Moody. And she thanked other Congress people who are helping destabilize and, as they hope, collapse her country. She took part in a military coup against a democratically elected president in the past. While presenting herself as a crusader for democracy, Corina Machado, in reality, took part in the short-lived U.S.-backed coup against Hugo Chavez's Venezuela when he was president. And he'd been elected president, right? So there was democracy, but the United States doesn't want democracy. As Mother Jones reported before that coup, the U.S., quote, increased funding for IRIs, that's International Republican Institute, a subsidiary of the CIA, cut out NED. Basically, I made fun of this before. Basically, IRI was created by NED because even NED is now known to be a CIA cutout. So NED was the brand laundering of the CIA. We don't want people to know it's CIA, so we'll create NED. Now everyone knows that NED is CIA or CIA cutout. So now even the NED is like, let's create some brand laundering for us so that they don't know it's connected to the NED. Like, literally, they've got to keep brand laundering down the road. You got to keep creating new organizations because slowly everyone's realizing that these are all connected to the fucking CIA, to the U.S. government. Dude, you cannot brand launder your way out of this shit, assholes. We got you. We got you. We see you. We see you. We see you. Normally that's said in like a loving way. I see you. Now it's like, no, I see you. IRI's activities in Venezuela sixfold. They increased the funding for them sixfold. This was prior to the Chavez coup. From $50,000 to $300,000 in April 2002, which is worth $300,000 in 2002 is worth roughly $1.79 trillion today. In April 2002, a group of military officers launched a coup against Chavez, and leaders of several parties trained by IRI joined the junta. The U.S. coup was soon reversed after like a day or two by Hugo Chavez's supporters, who took to the streets and demanded he be reinstated. I mean, there is no better example of the people of a country standing up to fucking U.S. imperialism than when that coup happened. That coup happened. They essentially kidnapped Chavez. He's out of power for like a day before the people of Venezuela stood up, fought back, and coup over. Coup erased. Before the coup was reversed, however, someone named Corina Machado was one of the Venezuelan opposition figures to legitimize the coup and swear in the short-lived U.S. puppet president, Pedro Carmona Estanga. Machado gained widespread attention in 2004 after participating in the failed effort to recall Venezuela's then president Hugo Chavez. So she tried to bring down Chavez multiple times. The recall was pushed for by her U.S. government-funded NGO, Samate, following the failed U.S. coup against Hugo Chavez. Despite the referendum failing, with Chavez winning 59% of the recall vote, Machado's group faked exit polls to make it look like the recall vote had won. So she's been at this game a long time. She's been trying to coup her own country for, it seems, her entire life. She supported starvation sanctions against citizens in Venezuela, repeatedly supported and cheered on American starvation sanctions that have killed tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of regular Venezuelans. Many believe the number is well over 100,000 now. Corina Machado has cheered on the Trump administration strikes on boats in the Caribbean, which have killed 80 people who they admit they don't know the identity of. The Pentagon says they don't know the identity of these people. They have said, oh, no, we just know the identity of the boat. Oh, yeah, do you? Do you? Several of the people are not even from Venezuela, right? They're from Trinidad and Tobago. They're from Colombia. And something that's not in this article, but I just read it, is that a recent poll shows that 91% of Venezuelans do not support Corina Machado. Apparently, the Nobel Peace Prize didn't change that. 91% of Venezuelans do not support her. More recently on CBS News, she called for U.S. bombs to be dropped on Venezuela, saying, I will welcome more and more pressure so that Maduro understands that he has to go. She'd said that in response to, would you welcome U.S. military action? So basically, she's saying yes. Corina Machado has also coordinated with the ruling Israeli Likud party on her regime change operation, promising to turn Venezuela into an Israeli puppet state in South America if she is installed. In 2020, she signed an inter-party agreement with the ruling Israeli Likud party, that's Netanyahu, which promised to forge an alliance between our two parties to cooperate on political, ideological, and social matters, as well as advancing cooperation on issues related to strategy, geopolitics, and security, among others, in order to create an operational partnership and bring the people of Israel closer to the people of Venezuela. Yeah, I bet the people of Venezuela are just dying for that. They're like, can you please bring Israel closer? That would really mean a lot to us. The Israeli newspaper Ynet reported that Machado has close ties with the state and the Likud party. And of course, I covered when it happened a few weeks ago that Machado had a phone call with Netanyahu and thanked him for his wonderful work and said, great job in what you're doing, everything you're doing. Great job on genocide. Awesome. What a lovely lady. I bet she's just a blast to hang out with, you know? Just like casually on a weekend. Maria Corina Machado has repeatedly boasted that she will sell out her country's resources through mass privatization programs. Miami Business Forum speaking to them, she boasted, and I played the clip a few weeks ago. For the U.S., we will turn this criminal hub into a security shield in the heart of the Americas. Shield for the United States. She's announcing she wants to be a shield for the U.S. empire. We will open Venezuela for foreign investment, meaning pillaging. I am talking about $1.7 trillion opportunity. She's announcing that Venezuela's assets can be stolen to the tune of $1.7 trillion. She says not only in oil and gas, but also in mining and gold and infrastructure power. We will open markets. We will have security for foreign investment. That's code language. That's dog whistle for come and RAPE, our entire resources, our environment, our everything. And a massive privatization program that is waiting for you, she says. She also bragged, and to me, this is one of the most key sentences of the whole thing. She bragged, forget about Saudi Arabia. Forget about the Saudis. I mean, we have more oil, infinite potential. Now, the reason this is the key statement is because I know I've said this many times, but I think I'm going to add a little bit to it here. The petrodollar is what makes the U.S. empire even possible. Without it, we could not print infinite money. We could not have $1 trillion a year military budget. So without the petrodollar, the United States, the U.S. dollar does not remain the global reserve currency, and the U.S. Falters or falls or collapse. How suddenly it would happen is tough to say, but it probably wouldn't take long. So petrodollar front and center to the entire bloodthirsty U.S. imperial regime. It is the keystone. Now, Saudi Arabia has not re-signed the petrodollar deal, which started in the 70s, that said they will sell all oil in dollars, U.S. dollars. So they haven't re-signed it. Now, they haven't jumped out of it fully. They do now, I believe, sell some oil in other currencies. But the amount being sold in U.S. dollars is decreasing. So the U.S. needs to either convince Saudi Arabia to stop de-dollarizing, whether it's happening slowly or fast. They either need to convince them to do that, and they've not had much success convincing them to do that, or the U.S. needs to find a new Saudi Arabia. They need to find a new petrodollar hub so that U.S. dollars and petroleum will still be the center of all oil around the earth. And that new petrodollar hub, they believe, is Venezuela. They believe, these fucking parasitic lunatics believe that they do not need this partnership with Saudi Arabia anymore if they can just create a new Saudi Arabia that they own. And that's what they see in Venezuela, which has the biggest oil reserves on Earth. On Earth, which just to, for those of you maybe newcomers to the show, that's the planet we live on. We're on that one. All right, a little added aspect. This is not about Machado, but about the insanity of what the U.S. is doing in our attempted coup, ongoing attempted coup, attempted destruction of Venezuela. This is from Max Blumenthal. He wrote but it's also what he's talking about was also part of it was revealed in a New York Times article about this. So it's not just his research, but he says for weeks, the Trump administration's Operation Southern Spear has been playing with the lives of airline passengers flying over the Caribbean, and most people have not known it. Throughout November, the U.S. military employed electronic warfare to jam the GPS of passenger airline pilots to force international airlines to quit flying to Caracas. Jammed their instruments so they can't fly effectively. Colombia's Minister of Transport slammed the cyber attacks targeting aircraft operating near Venezuela. Quote, deceptive signals are being emitted. Cyber attacks, signals intended to fool positioning equipment, GPS, they declared. Another quote, to technologically sabotage an air operation anywhere in the world is a crime. We cannot allow that. Yeah, it's fucking terrorism. On December 12th, a U.S. Army refueling tanker flying without its transponder nearly collided with a JetBlue flight traveling from Curacao to New York. They don't have their transponder turned on. It's outrageous, the JetBlue pilot said. We almost had a mid-air collision. The Trump administration is engaged in borderline terrorism against civilian airliners and endangering travelers across the Caribbean, all to further a deranged regime change operation now focused on stealing oil tankers. And here's the part that even the New York Times covered. So they're making it incredibly dangerous to fly around, even just around Venezuela. And, you know, there's a lot of countries around Venezuela. Right? A lot of places people are flying over Venezuela airspace. And the U.S. is flying around without transponders on. They're electronically jamming flights so that they can, you know, barely even figure out how to land. It's just straight up terrorism. And eventually some plane is going to crash and, you know, everybody's going to die and it's going to be horrific. And the U.S. is going to blame it on Venezuela when, in fact, it's the fault of the U.S. But that's what we do, right? We cause terrorism around the world and then we go, oh, my God, people got hurt. Why did that happen? How did that? Oh, my goodness. All right. I want to move on to how ICE is arresting American citizens simply for looking at them. You know, the ongoing fascist raids of the United States. Please, everyone, click thumbs up, click subscribe. We're coming up on the end of the year, and you guys can make sure that Unredacted Tonight and my other work continues. Please consider, even if you just do it for a month and then you go, you know what, that $6 is killing me. And if I had that $6, then my dog could eat breakfast because I've been withholding my dog's breakfast from them to pay the $6. Even if that's what you decide. If you want to sign up for 1 month, it would be awesome. And it would help make sure the show keeps going. You can do that at realleecamp.substack.com. Here, I'll even put it on the screen for you. realleecamp.substack.com or at my locals page, leecamp.net. I'll tell you the difference between these two if you're trying to decide which one to sign up at. They both support my stuff. They almost support my stuff at similar or at close or similar amounts. So I'd say if you appreciate my columns more and you're kind of into reading some of my stuff and watching the live streams, and that's your main thing, then realleecamp.substack.com would be the place to go. If you're looking more for a community and for the extra video segments that I do on some live streams and stuff like that, that's locals, which is leecamp.net. It'll take you straight there. And you can watch the live streams like with the other locals community. You could all and comment over there. You can also get the extra segments that I do. So that's kind of the difference. There's not a huge difference. Either way, you're supporting my work, and I'd love for you to do that. Like I said, if I can get 50, 60 more people to join, then I can keep Unredacted Tonight going for at least several more months. And that would be amazing. My stuff is terribly suppressed and censored, but I'm going to keep at it. I'll keep fighting if you guys keep fighting is the way I look at it. So realleecamp.substack.com or leecamp.net. All right. Let's keep going, though. So I want to play a little bit of this local news broadcast. This is in Minneapolis. Yeah, I thought so. This is in Minneapolis. This, mid-50s woman is on ICE alert, finds out there's a fascist ICE raid going on in her neighborhood. She comes out to watch, and they arrest her for looking at them, basically.
Help me! Help! Help!
What you're doing is illegal.
Why are you arresting her?
It was about 6:30, and I got the alert on the North Minneapolis Rapid Response Group that there was an abduction happening. So I went right over there and I approached one of the officers I saw there and asked if she was ICE, and she told me to get back, and I didn't get back. And pretty soon they were throwing me on the ground and handcuffing me and putting me in their unmarked truck. It was pretty chaotic. I had just arrived there, so I didn't get to evaluate it fully, but there were other watchers who were asking me what my name was and everything. So I identified myself to them, and then I started yelling help because I was being kidnapped.
Help me! What's your date of birth?
Here you go, ma'am.
And shared that, so just she hadn't done anything. They pulled her down. They said that there was a separate official videographer, apparently with ICE. There was also obviously a citizen videographer who took the video of her being arrested. But just seeing that the government could do this, arrest somebody for doing nothing illegal, and throw her down, handcuffing. That video, seeing the video of Sue being handcuffed on the ground, that was chilling.
Do you have a timestamp? What time is it right now? 6:24 a.m. on the cross street of North 21st Avenue, North Oliver Avenue, North Minneapolis. They detained a woman. I forget her name.
So there you go. This woman in Minneapolis, but of course, this is not the only one. I think you hear about the ones that are like well videotaped when this is happening around the country. Just most of it, is either not well videotaped, or whoever videotaped it doesn't have an outlet. So they post it to their Twitter, which has 3 followers, and no one finds out about it. But this shit is going on around the country. They are arresting people for looking at them. They're arresting people for asking them who they are. It's straight up out of Nazi Germany. And they're also dressed in all kinds of outfits. They're wearing outfits that say police when they're not police. They're wearing outfits that say sheriff when they aren't sheriffs. They're wearing outfits that say FBI when they aren't FBI. So it's designed to create confusion. And as I mentioned in that video, that they couldn't find out, her husband and everyone couldn't find out where they'd taken her for basically the entire day. Like no matter who they called, they probably called the police department first. The police department says, we don't know anything about it. So finding out just where these people are taken, and that's an American citizen with people who are immigrants and not American citizens. It could take, there's people that have been missing for a month and they don't know where they took them. So, but yeah, if you thought that you were safe because you're a white American citizen, even better, a white middle-aged American citizen, even better, a white middle-aged American citizen in Minneapolis, some of the whitest areas in the country. No, you're not safe. None of us are safe from being arrested by these jackbooted thugs under this police state. Now, I will remind people, because it's not, people aren't reminded enough, that we were a police state prior to Donald Trump. It doesn't mean Trump's not amping it up. It doesn't mean this isn't horrific, which the segment I just brought you was designed to remind everyone it's horrific. But we were a police state prior to Donald Trump. We had the largest police state in the fucking world prior to Donald Trump. We now have the largest police state in the fucking world under Donald Trump. You need to understand that. That's what we were. It's what we still are. We were a giant warmongering imperial entity prior to Donald Trump. We are a giant imperial warmongering entity under Donald Trump. We killed 4.5 to 6 million people in just the global war on terror prior to Donald Trump. We have killed more than that under Donald Trump, and who knows what the current numbers are. So let's just remember all that. But while we're on the topic of deportations, and in this video, this is in Congress, they're questioning Kristi Noem about all the deportations. And I feel like this congressperson failed to give the punchline delivery of this. because there's a way this could have been like a real fucking home run, and instead it's a little bit ruined by the delivery. But I'll try and let you know how hilarious this is, even though he doesn't do the best job with it. But let's play some of this video. So for those of you listening to the podcast, this is Kristi Noem being questioned in front of Congress.
How many United States military veterans have you deported?
Sir, we have not deported U.S. citizens or military veterans.
Okay, let me just reiterate that in case anyone didn't hear it. She's asked, how many military veterans have you deported? She says, we have not deported any military veterans.
I don't believe you served in the military. I haven't either, but I think you and I can agree that as Americans, we owe everything to those who have served our country in uniform, particularly those who have served in combat. Do you agree with that?
Sir, I believe that people that are in this United States that are citizens have legal status here.
Madam Secretary, we are joined on Zoom by a gentleman named Sejun Park. He is a United States Army combat veteran who was shot twice while serving our country in Panama in 1989.
So there's the punchline. Now, like I said, he ruins the delivery. But really what it should have been like, how it should have been delivered is, have you deported any veterans? Oh, we have not deported any veterans. We are joined now on Zoom by a veteran you deported. That's how you deliver it. Not just a veteran you deported, a Purple Heart receiving, shot twice veteran you deported. So fuck you, Mrs. Liar. That is how you deliver this. Instead, it's, oh, do you not believe the military is the best thing that's ever happened ever in the world, and we all love the military? Yeah, okay. Yeah, wonderful. But this could have been the most viral clip in the world if he'd done it all in about 3 seconds. Have you deported any veterans? No, we haven't deported any veterans. We're joined now by a veteran you deported. End of clip. Anyway, it goes on with more of his mushy mouth, how great the military is stuff. But basically, they literally have a video of this guy. He's in North Korea, a country he hasn't been in since he was 7. Came to the United States believing the hype that we were the land of opportunity, that we were the land that loves immigrants, that loves other people, believing that hype, believing those lies, gets here, joins the military because he loves his country. And now he's been shipped back to a country he essentially knows nothing about since he was 7 years old. Thank you, VC Nick, for supporting the show. Really appreciate it. VC Nick says they're normalizing armed thugs on the street. It's not about deportations. After we make our $10 billion next summer during World Cup, but before midterms, something very horrible is going to happen. Well, something very horrible has been happening, but yes. Anyway, just wanted to add that little moment in Congress. And the truth is they don't care or know. These are sociopaths, right? The term is not used enough. And I would like more people to get behind me and saying sociopath test at the White House, at the Pentagon. I mean, all these buildings would be cleared out. They'd be ghost towns. The day after you institute the sociopath test, do you know how large the Pentagon is? It's like 10,000 offices or whatever. They'd all be empty. So you'd have just giant ghost towns. The moment you put sociopath test at every door, you have an empty White House. They're all sociopaths. And that's how they got to these positions of power, is because sociopaths succeed far, far more easily, but in many cases, without exception, depending on the job. Sure, you could be like a secretary and maybe not be a sociopath because you're kind of closing your eyes to the reality of what the U.S. Is doing. But definitely the top positions, there's no human empathy. And so she doesn't know or care whether they've deported veterans. It just looks bad from a propaganda standpoint to deport veterans, but she doesn't care. Like, to her, she sees that guy on Zoom and she goes, not white, immigrant. Who cares? Doesn't matter if he's a veteran to her because she's a sociopath. All right, just thought I'd bring you this fun story real quick. I assume some of you saw the revolting cover of Time magazine. They've been doing this Person of the Year for decades now. I think Hitler was on it once, and this year the Person of the Year. But now they do weird things like more than one person and stuff like that. This year, their Person of the Year is all of the tech oligarchs, the AI tech oligarchs. And for those of you listening to the podcast, they've taken the classic famed image of the blue-collar workers wearing hard hats, sitting on a beam. I believe they were building the Empire State Building, right? Sitting on a beam, and you can see that they are thousands of feet in the air, and they're sitting on a beam eating lunch. They've taken that image and replaced all those hard workers with these, again, sociopaths, parasites who run the top of the AI tech world. Some of them that I recognize are the head of NVIDIA, then Sam Altman, the head of OpenAI. You got Elon Musk, you got Zuckerberg, and they're all sitting on this beam. And it says, Time Person of the Year, the Architects of AI. And the caption that Fight for a Union on Instagram has added they say, I'm so glad they used this photo. An AI ripoff of a famous photo of real, hardworking builders. Exactly what AI does. Exploits real workers, real artists, real writers, and then sells it back to you for profit. The parasitic class love it. But the idea that they did this with no irony, that they were replacing a famed photo of hard-working Americans, blue-collar workers with hard hats on, building the future of America, they replaced them with a bunch of edgelord shit-stained AI architects. I mean, when I first saw the image for a split second, I thought they were saying, wouldn't it be nice to have them all up there? You could just lop off that one beam. You could just pull out one bolt and watch them all go. For a minute there, I was like, oh, isn't this a nice little dream they've concocted? You just remove one little bolt and then we're all in a better place. But yes, it's amazing they did this without a sense of irony of what they were doing. Truly, truly horrific. It's also there's also another bit of irony that they're not appreciating, which is, and I've said this multiple times. I don't know whether everyone agrees with me, but I promise you I'm right, because always right. Okay, I've been wrong twice. Okay, twice my entire career, and one of them was when I bought that street stromboli in a back alley in Bucharest from adult size. He pulled it out of an adult size tricycle, and I was wrong. I was wrong to do that. Still recovering. That's one of the two times. So I'm always right. But what I've been saying is that when people say AI bubble, there are two meanings of that I think people are confusing. AI bubble, there's absolutely an AI bubble economically. The U.S. economy is like staying afloat by this massive AI bubble, financial bubble, where NVIDIA is like literally funding the companies that are then buying its chips. And NVIDIA is the only one that actually makes something real. The others have no real AI income. OpenAI has a negative balance sheet and expects to lose billions of dollars in the coming years. They're just hoping that AI will revolutionize everything and suddenly make them super rich down the road. And then, the other companies, they have other ways to make money, like Microsoft. So their AI bubble can burst and Microsoft would still be powerful. But anyway, so there's the financial bubble. Absolutely. 100% real. It is a financial bubble. It is an economic bubble. But the idea that AI itself is a bubble, like AI technology is meaningless, and that I think that's bullshit. And I think hundreds of millions of jobs are going to be purged in the coming, 20 years around the world. And we're going to see the ramifications, every year And like I've said many times, if we deal with it like actual functioning smart adults, then we go, hey, guess what? We just got rid of the need for wage slavery. Most of the jobs can be done without us. Now we can just make sure everybody has a comfortable, awesome life. Awesome life would be the new, that'd be the new political plan. Hey, we're switching from the wage slavery model to the awesome life plan. If you anybody cool with like that switch? It doesn't mean you can't have passions. It doesn't mean you can't work hard at your passions. It just means you wouldn't have to do shit you don't want to do. So that's what should happen. Instead, what happens with every new technology is the benefits, both in time saving, in money saving, in job savings, meaning getting rid of employees. It's all given to the richest of the rich, and everybody else just struggles more. And that's what's happened with every new technology. So, what I was getting at is the other irony they're not realizing, which is that it seems very tenuous that these AI architects are up on this beam, right? It's like they're thousands of feet in the air and they could so easily collapse. Well, economically, the AI bubble is very real. So they don't understand the irony of the fact that, all it's going to take is one little bolt to unscrew this AI economic system, AI propped up economic system, and it's quite a fall. It's quite a fall down. All right, let's get to at least one more story before we wrap up here. I wanted to bring you this. We know U.S. democracy, which didn't exist before now, is just whatever shreds of it remained are being utterly gutted. The two-party system is one party. Even if you were to believe it's two parties, it's bought by the richest of the rich. Person who spends the most money wins in the Senate 87% of the time, in the House 97% of the time. It's not a democracy. It's sold to the highest bidder. But even if you ignore, and if you know that the two parties are one party, then guess what? That one party wins the election. The ones that spend the most money win that election 100% of the time, meaning no one ever wins in our government at all if they are not one of the two parties that spend the most money. There is not a single Green Party person in government, in our federal government. Not there. There is on local levels. I've often said voting on local levels can make a lot more difference. Anyway, those are just a few of the ways our democracy is gone. It's been gone for a while, but it's getting even worse. And the Supreme Court has now basically said gerrymandering is totally fine. Partisan gerrymandering. You are allowed to get into state power and just gerrymander the fuck out of the place. For those of you in other countries that maybe don't know what gerrymandering is, in the U.S. now, they are allowed to make the maps of districts look however they want. And so you'll see these crazy districts, and you go, voting districts, and you go, why does that district look like that? District looks totally bizarre. And the reason is because they want to stay in power. So they district in some insane way. Let's see, I'll show you one image here of gerrymandering, in case any of you don't know what it is. But so this is North Carolina, and apparently this is some examples, but you look at the bright red district, like these should be squares, and instead they're all these bizarre shapes. Look at the blue. Look at the one that looks like a river. It's a blue line down the middle of two other maroon areas. It looks like a river. Why is it made like that? Because they're trying to keep all of the similar people together so that they can, like if you gerrymander a district so that it has all of the black people, let's say, of an area all in that same district, that means, yes, that district is going to elect someone that the black people want. Okay, fine. But it also means those black people are being kept out of all the other districts so that the far right wing or white candidate or whatever can win in all those other districts. So you create one district that holds, let's say, the black or the left wing or whatever it is, constituents, And then 5 districts around it don't have to worry that they'll have any voters of that type. So you can get 5 people in office who are all right-wing white lunatics, and then have 1 district where the black people get to elect someone. Now, it's not always about white and black. Sometimes it's about just pro-Democrat, not, and not pro-Democrat, like pro-Republican, whatever. But it's sometimes about black and white. It's sometimes about religion, sometimes about immigrant status. But it totally should be illegal. And it has been in the United States, in most states, for a long time, in many states. And the Supreme Court just said, totes fine. Totally fine to do that. Which, of course, if you look at the Constitution, it disenfranchises a lot of people. For a lot of people, it makes their vote not matter at all. Now, there's loads of other ways your vote doesn't matter, such as the fact that votes can be bought. The person who spends the most can wins the election. Like that's buying the election. That's disenfranchising you. Anyway. Okay, let's do one more. Let's squeeze in one more story for y'alls. Don't forget to sign up over at reallycamp.substack.com. But I just wanted to show you some of Donald Trump's wonderful hypocrisy. I don't often cover stories like this because they get covered in the mainstream, and I'm like, they got it. CNN can tell you about Trump's hypocrisy. But I don't want to leave them all out. And this one's pretty incredible. In Common Dreams, they're talking about how Trump has been going after his political enemies, sea anemones. He's been going after his political sea anemones. I would not put it past Donald Trump to hate sea anemones because he has a ridiculous fear of sharks. And in multiple speeches has talked about how awful sharks are and how much he hates sharks. Not like sharks like humans, like literal sharks. So I could see him having an anemones list. Yes, he's got an enemies list, but he's also got an anemones list. I could easily see that. Anyway, he's been going after several of them by accusing them of mortgage fraud and prosecuting them. And one of the ways he's been doing this is by saying that they claim something was their principal residence, which is important for tax reasons, etc., and then they don't actually live there. It's one of the ways of getting around certain taxes and certain obligations. And he's been going after his enemies with this. And yet, it turns out Trump, of course, I mean, you could have guessed this, but they've actually done the research and found out he does this all the time. He's done this multiple times where he buys a property, says on the deed, or whatever, it says on the paperwork, official paperwork, that it's his principal residence, and then doesn't live there at all. And in fact, often it's a rental property. He uses it as investment or rental properties. So this is from the co-president of Public Citizen. The cruel and lawless hypocrisy of Donald Trump using the levers of government to dig up so-called mortgage fraud on his perceived political opponents while doing the very same himself is blatant. The administration has used the idea of claiming a home as your primary residence without residing there to justify DOJ takedowns of Lisa Cook, Tish James, and more. If this is how they really feel and the ProPublica reporting is accurate, then Donald Trump should be next in the Department of Justice crosshairs. He literally has been prosecuting people for not living at the houses they say they live at. And of course, he has houses he doesn't live at that he claims he does. Anything he can claim where he'll pay less taxes, he has claimed it. I guarantee you. There is no fucking way that Trump at some point has not claimed a chinchilla as a dependent, okay, on his taxes. Like, there is no way he hasn't had some goldfish that was supposedly a mentally challenged dependent, that he needed state funding to help care for his elderly, mentally challenged goldfish. Like, any way to get out of taxes, Trump has done it. So, of course, he has houses he's never even set foot in that he says he lives in full time. It is nice to have just like full on carnival barker bullshit as president. Like, just it's so often refreshing that the mask is off. It's like every level of fraud and hypocrisy you can imagine, he's doing it all. There's not one. There's not one. And if you were to bring it up to him and be like, "Hey, you haven't tried this aspect of fraud and hypocrisy," he'd be like, "How do we miss that? Get my guys on that. What? Bring my guys in here. How did you fucking miss this? What are you guys doing? What am I paying you for? There's an aspect of fraud and hypocrisy you have not gotten involved in. What? Why am I paying you? I guarantee you. All right. I will see you Wednesday for Government Secrets. It airs live at 9 a.m., but obviously you can watch the rerun. And if you're listening to the podcast, Government Secrets is also a podcast. Just check it out on there. There's hundreds of episodes. The other nice thing about Government Secrets is sometimes we talk about topical stuff for the first 10 minutes, but essentially the show is not topical. It's evergreen. It's about all of our government secrets through the years. So if you started listening to today, you'd have 200 episodes for whenever you need them. You know, you can throw on an episode, learn something about the U.S. government, the U.S. country, and our government secrets, the awful shit we've done around the world. And since it's not topical, you can listen to it anytime. Okay. See you Wednesday. I'll also see you Friday for another live stream. No Unredacted tonight. No new episodes until next year. However, if you haven't seen the latest episode, just came out Thursday, and check it out. YouTube.com/Moment of Clarity. All right. Keep fighting.
Well, brother, I salute you, though, man. You're one of the few that bring together this tremendous artistic talent and still be in such deep solidarity with oppressed people.
It's an honor to be here because I'll tell you, Lee, you have one of the funniest shows on television, bar none.
It's an enormous pleasure to be here. While I was waiting, I was leafing through your wonderful book.
The same to you. I love your show. Be happy to come back anytime.
Lee, this is one of the great honors of my long career, just to be in the same earth with you.
I'm sure.
We're just so blinded. We have so many blinders on because our society doesn't want us to know things. And so it takes shows like your show, and
it is clearly designed to eradicate.
Hey, good to see you.
Hey, Jill, how are you? Julian, thanks for joining me. Honor to have you, brother.
Consumerism is a theory that people should behave this way to help each other. It's not.
Mr. George Galloway, thank you so much for joining me in these dark times.
Always a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you so much, Lee, for having me on. Keep fighting. Ha.